In this episode, we're doing wall yoga.
Hi, I'm Nina, an Ottawa-based blogger. I love to keep busy and stay active by trying new things in the Ottawa region. Follow my adventures as I try new activities and get out of my comfort zone. Today I tried something completely new, wall yoga. It was so much different than regular yoga. You're suspended from a wall and it lets you get into really cool postures and be upside down while you're doing yoga, something I haven't done before. There was even a dog that worked at the yoga studio and he wanted to make sure that everything was going well. I'm on my way to Carleton Place this morning, off to Hamsa Yoga to do some wall yoga. I've been doing yoga for a really long time, but never wall yoga, so I'm curious to see what it's about. Got a really good sleep last night, so I'm feeling nice and rested and ready to go. Let's go see what it's like.
Hello, Nina.
Hi, Tiffany.
Welcome to Hamsa Yoga.
Thanks.
So are you ready to practice some yoga wall today?
Yeah, I'm really excited to try it.
Okay, excellent. So I'll just give you a little bit of background about the wall before we begin. So the wall was originally invented a long time ago by a famous yogi named BKS or Iyengar. So the original version of wall yoga was actually long pieces of rope that he attached to a window grate. Eventually morphed into him attaching these ropes to the wall. However, he was using hooks on the wall. So the hooks protruded from the wall. And eventually, when this became a little more mainstream, one of his students was using it and he got his foot caught on the hooks.
Oh.
So he in turn went off and developed his own yoga wall system, which is actually the system that we're going to be practicing on today. And everything is now countersunk into the wall, so there's no risk of us
Much
injuring
safer.
ourselves. Yes, it's
Awesome.
much safer. So some of the reasons that we practice yoga wall versus just regular yoga is there's actually three pretty important reasons. So one is for our alignment. So it really teaches us how to have proper alignment and how that should feel so that when we go back to the mat in a regular on the ground class, we know what the difference is between good alignment and not good alignment. It allows us to also to access muscles that we normally don't get to access when we are doing yoga on the mat. And it also allows us to attempt to come into some poses that may otherwise not be accessible to us.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's oodles of fun. You're gonna have a super fun time today. And I'll just go over a couple safety things with you before we begin, and off we go.
Hey, Luther. Are you going to supervise yoga today?
This is his version of supervising. Sometimes he actually sits on the mat and watches us and judges our technique, but otherwise he normally just has a nap when I teach my classes.
And he's got his Hamsa Yoga Studio t-shirt on, so
Well,
he's
of
all
course,
ready.
he has to represent.
Of course.
Alrighty, so I'm going to get you set up in this space here.
Okay.
So there are three components to the yoga wall. So remember I was mentioning these little insect grommets? Mm-hmm. So all the components are spring-loaded, which is pretty important when we put in anything into the spring load. We want to make sure that it's securely down and locked into place. So we have the straps, and then with the straps we have the belt, and we also have handles, and we'll get those guys out in a few minutes. We also have the bars that allow us to do different poses as well. So between the combination of the different elements, there's hundreds of different poses we can come into.
I'm
so
sure.
It can be a pretty fun class, and every class is very different. It really depends on what our focus is for the day. So I'm going to run you through a couple of poses that are pretty common. So if people are feeling especially tight in the hips, or they're needing a bit of a stretch out in their back, or maybe their shoulders are feeling a little tight, because we all spend a lot of time like this.
Yes, I spend a lot of time that way.
Yeah. So we'll get you opened up, and we'll also get you into some inversions later on. And if there's anything else that you feel is really needing a little TLC today, we can also address those muscle groups as well. Okay. So let's start off by actually taking this guy off the wall. And we're going to use the bar to start with. So we'll just get this right out of the equation here. Okay. So we'll just do a very, very simple warm up here. We're going to place our hands face down on the bar. We want the hands or the arms to be about shoulder distance apart. We're gonna walk the feet back, and you're gonna start to sink your chest down towards your mat. And then very slowly, we're gonna bend, cat-like arch, and then walk back into place here. This guy here that I'm about to show you is pretty accessible to most people. I'm gonna step my feet onto the wall. So this is the part here that can be a little bit challenging for people. If it is, then we lower the belt and make this even more accessible to them. So, both feet come onto the wall. I'm gonna bend my knees. I wanna keep my knees outside of the belt. Bring my feet together. And then I'm coming into the inversion.
You guys can tell me when you want me to stop doing this. I could stay here all day, so.
Okay, well, we're just gonna go get a latte and come
Works
back.
for me. This is like the most open my spine has felt in years. I love it.
It's like being at the chiropractor and having a traction done, but you haven't had any of the bad stuff happen to you beforehand. So I was lucky that when I purchased this studio 5 years ago, it actually already had the wall in it. So I really lucked into it, because it's the only studio, Hamsa is the only studio in the Ottawa Valley with the yoga wall. So we're gonna be coming back into that same down dog pose to start with. So we wanna be facing the windows. We're gonna place the belt right on our hip points. Okay, and then give yourself 3 little baby steps again before you bend over. Plant the hands, walk the feet back. But this time, instead of them staying on the floor, you're actually gonna bring them onto the second grommet level. Okay, now are you familiar with chair pose?
Yes.
Okay, so you're gonna bring your fingertips into chair pose. So they wanna touch the wall, deep bend in the knees. As you inhale, you're gonna extend the body, reach your hands towards the window, gaze in between your fingers, exhale to come back to chair. Okay, so inhale to extend, arms nice and high, and exhale, come all the way back into your chair, and you come back to child's pose from here. So, the shins come onto the wall, knees sink down towards the earth, and you're gonna child's pose it.
I had a great experience at Wall Yoga today at Hamsa Yoga in Carleton Place. Thanks to Tiffany for sharing her practice with me today. I'm ready to continue the Savasana, go home and get some sleep. I'll see you in the next episode. So that was my adventure today. I'll see you in the next post.